Agenda this evening, as was briefly mentioned at the last township committee meeting, recently FEMA announced that they will be increasing their reimbursement for Hurricane Sandy from 75 to 90% of eligible costs. Now the key term there is eligible cost. I get a brutal lesson every day from FEMA and the state on exactly what eligible costs are. However, regardless, increasing it from 70 to 90% reflects very good news for the township. By far, the biggest element of the storm recovery effort is the municipal dock. The cost of that will be upwards of $1.5 million. But as many people have stated in meetings, the progress of the dock is outstanding. I would like to commend the township engineer and his firm for designing an impressive facility. The work being conducted by both the private contractor and the public works employees is very nice, and it's I'm very pleased to see that both those entities are working very well together, and as a result, we are hoping for what we would call substantial completion of the dock between the boat ramp and the northern end of the property by Friday, August 2nd, contingent on weather. Landscaping, the small portion of the dock between the boat ramp and the southern end will not be done, and some other minor things will need to be accomplished, but we are hoping for substantial completion by Friday, August 2nd. In response to the mayor and the band platform, we may have to run a trolley on that platform to get people from one end to the other. It's on paper it did not look that big. In reality, I think you can land a helicopter on it. It's huge, but very much needed in order to accommodate the ever-growing crowds for the successful summer dock concert series. Another follow-up to the mayor with the 4th of July. By all accounts from police and public works, it was by far the most people at the dock for the concert and the fireworks display. As the mayor indicated, we had events from Thursday, July 4th to Sunday, July 7th. Farm markets, 3 concerts, fireworks, boat races. So that weekend had excellent weather, and Barnegat was very busy along the bayfront. Based on some preliminary numbers from Waretown with regards to water usage, it was a record weekend for water usage along the bayfront. So again, the word is getting out that the bayfront in Barnegat is the place to be. When completed, the municipal dock will be a facility that we will all be proud of. And again, I have to publicly commend and acknowledge the township engineer for not only designing an outstanding facility, but terrific oversight of the work. Representatives from the firm are down there every day, making sure everybody's doing exactly what they need to do. In addition, I see some people from Pinewood in the crowd tonight. Late last week, we received an email from property management out in Michigan. They indicated that they will be on site in Barnegat on August 6th, 7th, and 8th. We are arranging to have a meeting with them. They requested that we email to them prior to the meeting a list of the concerns and grievances that are being expressed, and we will do that. So I just wanted to let everybody know from Pinewood tonight, we did get hold of the new representative. He will be out here for a 3-day period in early August. We plan on meeting with him for an extensive period of time, and we will have our professionals with us at that meeting to represent the residents as best we can. In addition, we did send code enforcement out there a couple weeks ago, and they did find a few violations, and they would handle them accordingly. I'd like to get to the agenda at this point in time. On page 2 of the agenda, ordinance 2013-13, first reading, vacation of Cherry Street. I think committee reports covered that rather well. Township attorney or engineer will be here to answer any detailed questions. On page 5 of the agenda, resolution 2013-301, 302, and accompanying resolution of 319, all deal with waiving fees associated with building permits for recovery work from Hurricane Sandy. Immediately after Hurricane Sandy in November, the township waived any UCC fees, and we will continue to do that through the end of September. Resolution 2013-308, 309, and 311 represent payments to the contractors working at the dock. Again, they are doing an outstanding job, and all payments have been reviewed and certified by the township engineer. Resolution 2013-313 is a resolution to go out to bid for a rear loading design trash truck. This truck will be used for brush and leaf pickup. We are rehabbing an existing truck at a cost of roughly $85,000 to $90,000 versus acquiring a new truck that will cost anywhere between $225,000 and $250,000. Resolution 213-320, authorizing the disposal of surplus property. This deals mainly with various vehicles and pieces of equipment, including the recycling trucks that we no longer need. We auction this off on Gov Dealers, which is an electronic auction house. We've had great success with them, and we anticipate a very competitive field for this equipment. And on page 7, Resolution 2013-321, resolution authorizing a shared service agreement with the Borough of Tuckerton. This is an extension or renewal of an existing agreement with Tuckerton that was established early in 2012 to provide fleet maintenance services. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Just one quick, I'd like to thank Jean, Director of Recreation, for the great job. She's running around, she did it, and poor lady was sick, and she ran around like crazy just to make sure everything was going right at the dock and the fireworks. She was out there on the boat. In the meantime, she has bronchitis. The lady deserves a hand. Please, give her a hand. And I don't say that unless I know that good people. She's a good lady.
Again, I think it's important to note, Mayor, that that's part of the shared service agreement with Ware Town, and that aspect has worked out extremely well. It's fantastic.
She's a great lady, she really is. Have a motion to open a public comment?
So moved. Second.
We're open for public comment. Pesci?
Frank Pesci, 11 Hemlock. Jake was discussing open space, and I had discussed with our learned attorney up there, months and months ago, in reference to the way that was written. And you agreed with me, it's an interpretation that the committee people take. You don't have to change it. All you have to do is that the way they interpret it. Our last learned attorney wanted to interpret it that you could use it, for backstops. That's not what it was saying, and it doesn't say that in there. So I think all we have to do, and Jake and the committee, is use what we have, but limit, okay? And that's all you have to do with that. The budget I've asked for, months and months and months, and now we're waiting for it again. I had mentioned that the school board has a little difficulty too. I helped them with the budget a couple of years ago, and now they're coming due the bonds, and they got about $1.5 million before they even touch their budget. You're the custodian of the funds. So to blame one entity and another entity, you can't. That's what it costs to operate this town. This municipal body, the Board of Education, and the county. That's you have to raise that money. And that's what's going to happen. The Board of Education's got a problem, and you folks have a problem. Years ago, and I'll bring it in, the state recommended, don't go beyond your means. I think that Committeeman Lucella said, within your house. You don't spend any more than you have. That's what the state said. Invariably, we keep on doing that. And we keep on bonding. Okay? And the bonding is going to give us problems. You can recast as many times as you want, you're still going to pay off that debt. So it's not today, it's 5 years down the road. And you recast it, and it's another 5 years. You still pay it. You still pay it. So I think it'd be prudent that we look how we spend, whether it be overtime or what we do in overtime. Equipment. I see some of the equipment that Dave was, a fleet operator. It appalls me to see one of the, I guess it was a water truck, rusted to heck, and maybe a 4-year-old one. That's because of salt. I know it, but they're not washed off. Why aren't they taken care of after? And we were supposed to get liquid. We didn't get liquid. Of course, I asked for liquid years ago. We haven't got it. But if we're going to keep on getting salt, have the guys when they come in wash it off once they're done. And we don't do that. And I see cars laying up at where we have our sand. I don't know what they had, 2 police cars, one of them busted. What are we doing with them? We had it how many years ago, Dave? We had an auction, we made $84,000. What the hell are we waiting for? Why don't we get rid of these vehicles? Or why didn't we trade them in against what we bought?
I'll respond to at least that
Sure,
one question. As I said, on the agenda tonight is a resolution authorizing the township to go out to auction to sell certain equipment and vehicles, and that includes a lot of public works equipment that no longer is needed, the recycling trucks, in addition to police cars that we have taken out of service. So to address your concern, it's on the agenda tonight with regards to salt and trucks. Salt and metal does not mix. We wash our trucks after every snow event. However, after 3 or 4 years, it corrodes a metal body. In addition, the township does use liquid calcium with the salt.
Maybe
Yeah.
wash them off, wash them. I handle fleets, you know that.
Okay.
I mean, a lot more than we have now. The other thing, now we got it back, rear end loader. For years and years and years, going through your own records, I kept on saying, why aren't we using the rear end loaders? You've got mixed loads with your recycling. It's better, compact more, or whatever. And that's what I say, we don't do it. Whether I come up here and recommend it, it's not I recommend it, and I'm not getting anything from it. If I have the expertise in particular areas or people out there have, I don't know why we don't listen to them, Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lon. Ray Leshak, 116 Redwood Drive. The code enforcement guy was supposed to get in touch with me or Joe Girardi, never did. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because these people here from Pinewood Estates tonight, they looked at their own areas and they came up with kind of a list. I'm sure he looked around, but he probably missed a lot of stuff. So if you have his number offhand, maybe I could get a list from these people and submit it to him.
That probably would be best. I know he spent probably a full day out there. However, let's take your list and compare it to our list in order to reconcile it. At times, what you think might be a violation in reality may not. But regardless, we will do our due diligence in trying to address any concerns you have. Like I stated earlier, we were encouraged that property management will be visiting the site in early August, and we feel that that will be our opportunity to express our concerns to them. I'm confident that at some point in time, they will be talking to the local property management that handles the park too, so.
Okay, then a question for you, Vernon. For about 4 or 5 years in a row, 1 year we had no pull at all, and the other years it opened up maybe a month late. Would it be unreasonable to ask them to give some kind of a gift back? Because it's in our rent, we cover the expense of the pool from year to year, but yet we don't seem to have use for it that much.
You're asking my
Yeah.
thoughts of whether it would be reasonable to request that? Yes, I think we reasonable. If you didn't get a service you were provided before.
Okay.
It sounds like a reasonable request to me.
Or any particular way to go about it, just ask them or send a letter or?
My recommendation is whatever you do it in writing. And I think certified mail is always a good thing. Nowadays, email can also, suffice, but make it in writing.
Yeah, because we sent emails before, we never got it.
Certified-
I don't remember that phone call.
Certified mail is the one way to make sure it gets where it's supposed to go. You
All right, I've done it
guarantee
before. All right, anything else that
Yeah.
Joe?
The Board of Health has mentioned that the town is responsible for in other words, the CO, code official. This guy Chris from the Board of Health, we made a call at the meeting, and they're wondering why, and there's members here too, I don't live near them, but you walk past some of these units and they smell. There's mold in them, and it's a hazard. It really is a health hazard. We got 5 of them in there, and I know what mold is. I don't understand why you said that the code official was gonna contact us. I called you 2 weeks ago.
You did.
You said you were gonna contact him.
No, just to be clear, everything does get, my role is to route it through Mr. Breeden's office, and Mr. Breeden, I know, reached out to.
Well, we didn't hear anything from him. We're not talking about minor issue, the minor issues, which we do have. When I say minor, they're not as hazardous or health hazard as some of these units. What's happening is they're trying to just sell them. They sell them for $100. The American Dream, you get people come in, they never had a home. And you can't blame them. They don't know anything about a home. They don't know about mold. They might have heard about termites, but they move in these things, and they're breeding this mold. Got one person right now, he's got to go to the doctors. He bought one approximately a little over a year ago. He's going to the doctors. They think it's mold infection.
Excuse me,
He might
sir.
have cancer.
Could you identify yourself and your address, please?
Pardon?
Should you
Joe
identify
Girardi,
for the record?
104 Berry Lane.
Thank you, sir. No problem.
But the whole thing is, you know, it continues on and on and on. I listed a home at 123 Pinewood Drive. The woman was without water for 4 weeks. I told her to call the emergency number. I have it on my cell phone when she called and left a message. She says, Joe, I did what you told me to do. I called the emergency line. The manager called her at 11 o'clock at night and said, don't you ever call the emergency line again. This is just for emergencies. I went up to the manager. She said, did you tell her to call the emergency line? I said, yes, she has no water. She's been telling you, I've been telling you, it's 4 weeks now. She goes, she's a part-time resident. You have to be a full-time resident to get water. I mean, what kind of answer is that? The woman uses it on weekends. I mean, these are just some of the things here, and I just hope that the town really does something to get involved. And as far as the dirt, they did bring my dirt finally after a year. And what do? The maintenance man gets a snowplow and pushes the dirt. And since he couldn't maneuver it, he pushed it on the grass, not where it was needed. Now they brought in another load. Eventually it's going to get done, but there's more important issues than the erosion in the park. I mean, you really got to act on this. You got to do something. I'm not talking for myself. I'm talking about for the residents in the park. There's a lot of problems there.
Again, property management from Michigan will be on site early August for 3 days. I think much can be accomplished at that
What
point.
property manager you talking about? Brian?
Now, Carbone?
Oh, Joe Cabot?
Yeah.
I talked to him personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to be there too. So would Greg when he does stuff.
Jay, what's the dates on that again?
He'll be there for 3 days. I would ask an opportunity for the township to meet with property management at first, so we can discuss concerns, and obviously we will communicate the need for them to talk to residents in some sort of productive setting.
Where is that going to be, Dave?
That will be August 6th through August 8th.
All right,
Okay?
that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else out there?
I also live in Barnegat Township. And my question is, it's really nice their property management's coming out, but it took a lot of jumping and screaming to get them here. In the meantime, we were told that we could seek a rent decrease when they didn't comply with certain things. We have a capital gains improvement that the rent leveling board passed on the pool, which we haven't had. There's maintenance, there's all kinds of issues. So what I want to know is how do we convene the rent leveling board to apply for a decrease on the rent until such time that management does learn to comply with these issues. Because it falls under tenant landlord, it's all through there. We did this once with the water issue, that's what it took to get them to go through and make it fixed, and it apparently is gonna have to happen again in order to get them to take some action to the park. So who do we see?
And my recommendation is that you follow a similar process as you did with the water, file a formal plain letter application
Okay, but
with that.
to who? Because that was an appeal, according to
The township.
how I did that, that was an appeal based on the decision that they made at the time, and you have to file it within 30 days. But this, they have all been put on already existing, so it doesn't technically follow under the appeal rule. So do I submit straight to the rent leveling board, or do I still submit to you guys?
My recommendation is that you have to start the process, and that process starts with the rent leveling board. So I would file a formal application letter with the rent leveling board outlining your grievances and let them take it from there. They render a decision, and if for some reason you're not satisfied with that decision, then the township committee hears the appeal. So that's why I'm answering for the township committee, because potentially they could be subject to rendering a decision if you elect to appeal. But start the process with the rent leveling board with a formal letter that outlines in detail, painful detail, your grievances, concerns, problems, issues with property management, and try to assign some sort of dollar value with that. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, we have tried to seek to get their dollar values, but they don't exactly respond back to that. So is there a way that we have access to what has been granted in the past from the rent leveling board where we can get the figures? I mean, I have a couple of things that I've assumed to come up with figures, but I don't think it's sufficient because it doesn't cover in like maintenance, neglect, and all of those things. Those are hard dollar value pin, and property management is not very easy at forthcoming with submitting the information that we need. They didn't necessarily submit it to the rent leveling board correctly until everybody jumped up and down on them either. So it's a little difficult to get some information from them. I don't know if you would have better luck when they're here on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And who is in charge of the rent leveling board now? Who is the president?
You asked multiple questions there.
Sorry.
The best the township can do is provide you information that property management supplied or furnished to the township with respect to any rent increase request in the past.
Okay.
We will make sure prior to their arrival that they are aware of the outstanding issues surrounding Pinewood, and we'll make sure that the pool is part of that list. And at this point in time, the name escapes me of who the rent leveling board chairman is, but we will get that to you.
Okay.
Okay?
They
Thank
have,
you.
excuse me 1 minute, they have Cheryl Crone listed as the chairperson.
That's who they have?
Okay.
So would I submit it through you to her?
Submit it to her with a copy to me.
Okay, but how do I get there? That's what I'm asking.
Township clerk's office.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Charlotte Stone, I live at 102 Berry Lane. We have a lot of problems and things that are not even going forward. One of which is we have feral cats. The people are dropping them off by the hundreds. Management was told about the feral cats. She said, her words, "It's not my job to catch the cats." She called Popcorn Zoo came and said, "Here's the traps, you trap the cats, when you got them, we will take them." She says, "Well, I'm not doing that, that's not my job." Well, whose job is it? It's not Popcorn Zoo's job, it's not management's job, and the cats are multiplying like crazy. And I'm sure Brighton's got the same problem.
Brighton had a similar problem, however, they enacted a certain program, trap, neuter, and release, I think, is what it's called. And for the most part, from what I understand, it was successful. So my initial recommendation would be for Pinewood Property Management to reach out to Brighton and ask them exactly how they addressed the feral cat issue out there, because they seem to be fairly successful with keeping it under control.
Yeah, well, I can't begin to tell you how many cats.
Okay?
It's gotta be thousands by now. And I always just can't.
That wasn't part of the program, but.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
The secondary problem that we have is, lawn cutting. My husband, for the past 7 years, we've lived in Pinewood, and in the past 7 years, he's been cutting his neighbor's lawns. This is something that he enjoyed doing. He didn't care if it was 110 degrees out. He felt sorry for his neighbor with one leg or an amputee, or whatever the problem is, and went out and cut grass. He was chosen the day the new manager came in. She told him, no, you can't do it anymore, you're not licensed. How does she know he's not licensed? She never asked. And then she told both of us that we were not allowed at the clubhouse at all. That this is her rules and regulations. She's trapped me in my car, she's come onto my property, she's harassed me, she's harassed my husband. This is what we've been going through for the past 7 weeks.
As I told somebody last week, if you feel that you're being harassed, I urge you to contact Barnegat Police and to document it. What you're describing mostly is a law enforcement issue that requires an appropriate police action.
I think I talked to you.
Okay, you may have. So again, if you feel that you're being treated unfairly, you're being harassed, she's entering your property, I urge you to contact Barnegat Police,
I talked to Lieutenant.
get it documented, so, okay. Seems like you're doing the right thing then.
He keeps telling me, he says, as little as it sounds, please call. She's mocking me because a lot of times the patrolman will come out
Mhm.
and she says, oh, you're making a fool of yourself by calling the police department. And I said, wait a minute, this is one of the things that I'm allowed to do. And if you're harassing me and coming onto my property and upsetting my home, then I have the right to call the police department.
That you do, and I urge you to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else out there? Mr. Cataldo?
Thank you, Jake. Larry Cataldo, 9 Village Drive. Deputy Mayor, the other night we had mentioned about the dock and the goings-on down there with the celebration. It was fantastic. You had mentioned you wonder how many people are from Barnegat. You got down there a little bit late. Had you seen the beginning of the concert, I would speculate that 70 to 80% were Barnegat residents.
Excellent.
And then the rest came later on for the fireworks from wherever, but most of them were Barnegat residents. I mean, that's a successful venue we got down there, and I wouldn't worry about it. I think we're doing great with it, okay?
Thank you.
The other thing is, I got an idea. We got I noticed a lot of fallen trees in the woods surrounding the township. We have a $50 fee permit for people to remove those trees. Can we suspend that somehow to provide an ordinance to allow people to come in and harvest those trees, but yet somehow get some kind of a kickback to the township for those trees? Maybe a commercial company would come in. I had no idea. This is only an idea I just threw around in my head. What do you think of it, Dave? Over there?
I think it sounds like a good idea.
No,
We'd
it
have to
makes
check
sense to me.
logistically if we can.
Even
Talking
homeowners, a lot
private
of people
property.
burn wood now.
That's the problem.
I agree with your assessment. There's a lot of fallen trees in the woods surrounding Barnegat. On the surface, it sounds like a productive idea. One of my concerns would be some of those trees most likely are on private property, and technically you need the
Gotcha, okay.
permission.
Thinking that.
and that, and also safety concerns. Okay.
A lot of times the state will put ribbons on trees that are harvestable and allow people to go and
Now,
get them.
that's the direction you want to go. The state is currently doing some harvesting west of the parkway
Okay.
along Penn Coast, and I think maybe the state should be brought into that conversation.
I'm just looking for some kind of a donation maybe to the Department of Recreation. You know what I mean, something to you know, to suspend the $50 fee. Like I said, a lot of homeowners burn wood in the wintertime. They would love to harvest some of this stuff. The other thing, I lived here 26 years. This problem with Pinewood Estates ain't new. Problem with Barnegat Woods ain't new. This goes on and on and on. We got one guy to check on the certificates of occupancy. It ain't working. I've asked the committee, prior and the new committee, time and time again, we need an ordinance about a nuisance home or something to get these certificates of occupancy on the payroll. You guys, Marty will remember, and so will Billy, we sent a whole lot of people in to clean up Barnegat Woods. It's a mess again. I mean, how often do we do this? How often do these landlords are getting away with murder? It's atrocious. We need somebody to straighten out the certificate of occupancy idea. The rentals they change them like I change socks. They ain't getting a CO every time, I know that.
You're right.
They're not.
There's an ordinance that waived that.
I mean, Pinewood Estates, this is not the first time these people went through this, you know?
Yeah,
We
we
got
have to
these-
change that ordinance.
We got a slumlord problem, and I think we should address it with maybe a temporary hiring of another agent for certificate of
Well, first we have to bring it back to where we can inspect them again. We took away the COs on the rental.
And that, well, the
We have to bring it
No,
back.
we have COs on right
No,
now.
we only took them on reset.
I mean, Seaside Heights has one. They have one that's on the books that's been challenged, there's nothing wrong with it, it works. I mean, it's one lady without water. I mean, you make one complaint, 2 complaints, 3 complaints. The landlord will do whoever owns the unit. They don't give no more COs. They gotta show cause. The township attorney would love that. Okay, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Rose? Time's up, Rose.
Rose Jackson, 12 Marblehead Place. I'm coming here as a representative of the Firewise Committee in my community, Horizons at Barnegat. One of the questions that came up at our last meeting, which was last Friday, was the reverse 911. My understanding is that we have, that has been installed, am I correct?
That was installed a couple years ago prior to Hurricane Irene in August of 2011.
The question they had, and I didn't know the answer, so I thought, I knew this was the brain trust of Barnegat. So where did they get the phone numbers? Is that, the phone numbers that they used in the reverse 911, does that come from the telephone company?
Yes, a master list.
Okay, and does that include unlisted numbers?
To my knowledge, yes.
Does it include cell phone numbers?
No.
No.
Landlines only.
Landlines only?
Yes.
Is there a possibility that cell phones could be added to that list?
I do believe there's a method for signing up. Cell phones is opt-in. You would have to request it.
How would we do that? Would we request it through the police department?
Let me follow up on